Bearcat Bounce Podcast, back at it again. As always, I am Brent Young, joined by two guys. The last time you might have seen them on the airwaves, they were on for quite a while, like quite longer than a normal BBP episode, quite longer than like maybe 4 or 3 BBP episodes put together. That's right, the Sub-A-Thon Marathon MCs. Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel. Guys, this is the BBP, not the Sub-A-Thon. But welcome in. And how are we?
Still recovering.
Yeah.
If we're being honest.
Physically, my back still is wrecked from sitting on that stool for 15 hours.
You chose a stool.
Yes, I have a desk that is elevated that has stools that go with it. 2 of them. And, yeah.
Well, good. Chad, good to hear that you're doing all right. Little exhausted, but you know what? We'll bring the power. We'll bring the pizzazz.
I did 3 hours. I did 3 hours of radio today, so I'm getting my mojo back.
There we go. The sad thing is you guys cannot go to Danco Transmissions to get your backs fixed and your throats checked and whatnot, but you can go to Danco Transmissions to get yourselves. Actually, Ed, I'm down for 8 to 8, man. I'm down for 8 to 8.
Brent will be by himself from 8 to 8 if he wants to go 12 hours.
Yeah, we'll see. But you can head to Danco Transmission. You get $71 off. $71 off. Any purchase over $100. It's a deal, man. That is a deal. Danco Transmission. Danco Joe was on that Sub-A-Thon. He was loving life. We love Danco Joe. Head over there. BCJ, BBP. Mention anything. Heck, you can mention Brady Collins because that guy is a legend. And that must mean that he's currently with us right now. Well, fresh back from Mexico, Brady Collins back to the BBP. Brady, hola, ¿cómo está?
Estoy muy bien, ¿y tú?
Muy bien.
Muy bien. Doing great, boys. Always a pleasure to get a normal Monday back under the belt and join you fellas on the old podcast here.
Always great to have you. Pleasure is all ours, believe me. Especially after a tough loss on the basketball court over the weekend. But you know what? We'll touch on that later. This right here is about the budding success and happiness that is oozing from the football program. Brady, we've got to ask you, first and foremost, in Mexico, how was it? Were you able to enjoy yourself? Take a deep breath, a little relaxation.
I was. I'm not quite the vacation type. It's not like I don't love going to places and all that stuff, but just the way I'm wired, the way my head is, and just, I feel like I can relax, but I can't relax because there's always something I'm thinking of or, planning ahead and just checking in on the guys, all that stuff. But, I'm so fortunate. I got a great staff, fully entrusted them. And we got, a bunch of veteran dudes that, really run the program. So it was awesome to get away, with Coach Vic, his wife, some other of our coaches, and just, get a little one-on-one time with my wife because, we don't get out that much because with the kids and all that stuff. And it was just fun. I think it was Thursday. I'm just sitting there laying at the beach and I'm just like, I am totally good right now because, I've even said it. I don't even think I've still appreciated. I mean, of course I've appreciated, but really take in the past season and just everything that happened. And, I kind of got to do that there and also just think about the current team and the guys and, what's coming and what's ahead. But it was great. It was a lot of fun. Definitely would recommend it. And hopefully one day we'll go back.
Did you find yourself waking up at 6 and run or 5 and running down to the weight room and turning on the strobe light on your phone and pumping out some squat reps, or were you able to at least get some sleep?
No, but I think even my wife was giving me shit because I slept in till 6:30, and I mean, she's like, "You don't want to go work out?" I'm like, "No, So I got
Take-
my workout, on the beach.
There we go.
Take us through when everybody found out that the Fickles were taking the entire family on vacation. That had to be a happy Christmas present moment for everybody.
Yeah, I mean it was surreal. We're at Prime downtown, the staff Christmas party, and we sit down after a few drinks, and they make this big speech, and I open it and I'm like, what is that? And like my wife's like telling me what it is, and I'm not gonna lie, like the first thing that was in my head, I'm like, well, I got to work. Like, we're gonna be training those days, and but we had to do it. It was much needed and well earned, and again, just so grateful to work with Coach, to be around him, and just the way he treats us and empowers us, me especially, and it was awesome.
Now, did Amy run the entire itinerary for the whole trip while you were down there?
No, Vic had a spreadsheet. He had every minute planned to the T. Of course, Amy did. Yeah, she did. She did a phenomenal job, setting up everything, and Miss Sherry helping her and doing all those things. I mean, I even sat up at Sherry's desk, and she helped me film out like all the forms and all that stuff, and it couldn't have been any better.
So what was happening back in Cincinnati while you were down there? Were you keeping tabs, or were you able to put the phone, leave it in the room type situation, or what exactly were you able to gather the intel when you're able to get back?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I texted my guys, but I also, I trusted them, and I didn't want to, pry or be like, how'd everything go? How was this? How was that? Like, because I felt good, and, Coach and all of us wouldn't have left if we didn't feel good about that. And, the leaders, they did a good job of keeping me informed, just saying everything's great, had a great day, enjoy it, Coach, all that stuff. But I kind of used my iWatch more than anything. So I kind of made the rule when I was down there. I'm like, all right, I'm not wearing my watch because, I just really wanted to kind of, really embrace the so-called vacation experience.
So we asked Fickle this while he hopped on with us from Mexico. But while on vacation, what was Brady Collins' drink of choice?
They had these, oh man, what were they called? They had them, it was called, obviously, as soon as we landed, I had a Modelo, so that was great. Obviously they had the Coronas, they had Tecates, they had the Pacificos, but I think it was called an iceberg. And, a bunch of places have their own version of it. It's pretty much, a margarita with the Corona poured in. But this one was a Corona poured into a glass and then a frozen margarita on top. So it was good. It was really good.
Can't go wrong with those. About
Sounds pretty tasty.
yeah.
I have a Corona problem.
Nothing wrong with that.
They do nothing to me. I can drink 100 of them. And I'm just like, when's the drinking going to start?
That's not a bad thing, though.
You know what?
No, I love it.
It might just be me, but I think I'm taking a Modelo over Corona 100 times out of 100.
That's what I'm saying. Coronas do nothing to me. I'm invincible.
An ice cold Modelo.
I'm a Dos Equis guy, Brady. I like a good Dos Equis from time to time as well.
Dos Equis is nice.
Absolutely. Dos Equis is really good. I really like, my wife and I, we drink Pacificos every now and then. Those are really good as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tecates aren't bad.
Aaron was a man after your heart during the Sub-A-Thon. He was doing Natter Days Friday night.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
How many total, Aaron?
Good choice.
How many
I think
total?
he lost count.
I had 11.
That's not bad.
It's like the equivalent to 11 Mountain Dews.
Right? let's get to business. When you got back home, did you think, oh boy, spring football's 2 weeks away? The finish line for winter workouts is upon us.
Yeah, no, I really did. That's kind of like, one of my things every day. It's why I get in so early that's kind of my time just to even go over the day schedule, kind of check, the next day's schedule, the week, just so, because I'm always giving the guys heads up and telling them what to expect and, getting back Saturday night and then spending the day Sunday with the kids and all that stuff and hitting the ground running today. It was like, oh, wow. Like, next week we start spring ball and it's like, whoa. And, but again, we've been reminding those guys, since week one, like it's going to get here before you know it. Like we had a countdown, like 50 some days. And then, I would erase the number and just go down every day. And, so it's definitely been something we've been, not like banking on, but just knowing that as that gets closer, all the work that you've put in since January, it's going to start showing itself. And, then we'll reassess after spring ball and have a badass summer and get ready to go to higher ground and, do what we always do.
Yeah, speaking of the work and the changes, I think, since the last time we've spoken, kind of the new coaching hires have been put into place and things of that sort. I want to touch on one thing that was kind of really highlighted and laughed about as well. It's the fact that new offensive line coach Mike Cummings, he enjoys some big fellas with some big base. You know what I mean? So is there something different when a new coach comes in, might have a different scheme or a different mentality towards their position group? Do you then adjust on your end to kind of form those big fellas with the big bases, or is it kind of you stick with the same thing, or what exactly is your approach once that happens?
No, I mean, find me one really great football player that doesn't have, great lower body strength and, good looking thighs and an ass on them. I mean, just being honest, football is played on the ground, played on one leg, played on two. So that's where all your power comes from. And, as an O lineman, especially, you're going up against other 300-pound men. You're trying to physically enforce your will on them and move them from point A to point B. And you can't do that if you don't have, lower body strength and a great base, and then you can bend and you're powerful and explosive. So it's been really exciting. He's been down there. He's in there every morning, gets his workout in, then he hangs around, kind of watches the guys, catches up with a few of them after. And he's been awesome. I mean, it's a bolt of energy. Guys are really starting to feed off him. And, it's a nice addition.
Well, you bring up bolt of energy, and we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you what it's like to be working with Coach Carrie Combs again, as you guys worked together up at Ohio State, and now you're back together once again.
I mean, when I knew that was going down, I couldn't have been more excited and just happy for, of course, him, but our kids. Because, my 2 years at Ohio State with him, he was one of those coaches. I was like, holy cow, this is one of the best coaches I've ever been around. At Ohio State, it was Coach Fick and Coach Combs in my mind. I was like, wow, these guys, just the way they ran their room, the relationships they built with the kids, with everybody in the building, their professionalism, their toughness, and just, again, leaders of men, great husbands, great fathers. And I was beyond jacked. And I texted him right before he came down because I remember he'd always come in the weight room early. And he'd do his workout, and Coach Mick would always yell at him for having a coffee. Well, I know Coach Combs drinks coffee nonstop throughout the day. So I texted him a picture of this new ab wheel I had for him. And I said, hey, it's waiting for you, Coach. And he said, Brady, I just have one question. Will you allow me to drink coffee in the weight room? I said, Coach, you can drink whatever the fuck you want in here. I'm just so jacked you're here. So that has been an absolute home run hire. All of them are. But like I said, more than anything, and same with the O-line guys, just excited for the kids. And, I think it's going to be a huge upgrade for us. And just like you said, no doubt, bolt of energy, enthusiasm, but true, genuine love and a passion for what he gets to do. And what's really cool, more importantly, where he gets to do it, because Cincinnati's special to him. And, It is. It's awesome seeing him every day and getting to be around him, and just so excited, looking forward to the future.
So we were talking staff, obviously. While we're on the mention of staff, a couple of episodes ago, a few BVPs back, these guys, they lock in. People listen. They're wondering, are we able to reveal those names that we might sound familiar among your strength staff, or is that still under wraps for now?
No, those are official. So my top assistant, Zach Higgins, the big dog, he went to Ohio State, and happy for him. I know, happy for him. It kind of aligns with his wife is in med school, so with what she wants to do next, what they have up there for her is gonna help that out a little bit. So it was more than just going to work at a different place, because he loved it here. He loved everything about our program. But I was able to bring back a member from our first staff here, Austin Steffen, who was a former intern with me at Mississippi State and Ohio State. Brought him here day one at Cincinnati, and he was awesome. He was with us, 17 and 18 season, and then he went to Mississippi State, and then he was at Pitt for the last couple of years.
Uh-oh.
Must have hit a pothole.
Brady. Brady.
Get a pay bump and be on a extremely, well-known program. He was like, absolutely. So I was able to bring him back, and that's been huge. Been a great addition. Makes me better, makes our kids better, the whole program. And then another guy that was with us in 2019 and 2020, Dustin Tripp, he left after the 20 season and went to Purdue, and he was at Purdue for 1 year. Just always kept in touch with him, see how he's doing, all that stuff. He loved it here, loved our program, loved the guys, and I was able to bring him back. And I mean, he couldn't have been here faster. He was so jacked up. So, really excited to bring those two guys back. And I still got, my Italian stallion, Danny Foligno, who's been here since 2018, who just had a baby girl yesterday. Yeah. And then my other main guy, Jeremiah Ortiz, who started off as an intern with us in 2019, and then went to Georgia Southern, and then I hired him back, and he's been here since 2020. So, again, love my guys. We've all played college football. We're all young, and, just love everything that they've been doing this winter, and can't wait to keep it rolling.
So we saw the top speeds come out today, as you've been posting them up weekly at this point. And again, we see Shimon Nateir at 21 miles an hour, which is unbelievable. But some other new names that have kind of been popping up. I don't recall Todd Bumpus being quite at 21, has he? Am I off with that?
He's hit it. He's hit it, I think last summer.
Okay.
But again, some days maybe he's not in the top echelon of guys, or, but no, he's got that to him for sure.
Love to see that. And then Ken Willis, one of the new freshmen, saw him at number 7 at 21 as well.
Yeah, I know a guy that was, touted as a really fast speedster coming in. And again, first day when we do all of our testing after the dynamic, you've never done anything like it. Your anxiety's through the roof. You're probably nervous. You're never going to test extremely well. So, when he ran his 40 and, some of the coaches were like, oh, I thought he was faster. It's like, it's all good. And obviously, he's been in the program now 6 weeks. So he's, really his body's getting accustomed and adaptive to the training style. He's gaining weight, which, like Trey Tucker and I were just talking a little bit ago, like, there's no surprise why Trey's getting faster, because every offseason he's putting on lean mass. Like last year, it was like, all right, let's be 175. And what happened when he got to 175? Well, holy shit, he's faster. And then this offseason, I was like, dude, let's get to 180. And guess what? He's even faster at 180. And it is cool to see, some new faces pop up in there, and obviously Big Ass Shimon, that's awesome, because that big boy can move. And, it's good. I just love seeing all those results. And again, there could be like 30 others that we put on there that are 20, 19s. I mean, let's face it, you're running 19 miles an hour. It's still fast.
Who surprised you out of all of these names, though?
I mean, those two freshmen do a little bit, but like I said, again, 6 weeks in, they're starting to really, adapt to everything and, putting on mass. So those guys, they kind of stand out a little bit. Shaman was at first just because I'm like, there's no way that big ass is moving that fast, but he is. He's twitchy. He's strong. He's a great kid, and he's just getting better every single day. Let's see. I mean, it never surprised me when Jabari hit it because Jabari's twitchy as can be. I would say everybody that's on there, it's kind of like, yeah, I'd expect that. But, one guy I think I'm more jacked up to see is Hicksy, because Hicksy never really was up there too much on a lot of those in the past year. So, but proud of all those guys.
Mardner was on there, I think, last week. Can you kind of just give us an update of how he's looking in the weight room? Because I know obviously it was a player that came in as a transfer a little late and needed to maybe add something to him. How has he looked so far in the weight room?
He's been really, really good. I mean, came in, great attitude, was vibing right away with how we did things and how the guys train and get after it and, coach each other up and hold each other accountable. And, he came in like every great transfer that we have in the past has done. He, kept his mouth shut, kept his eyes open, listened, followed the lead of us, followed the lead of the older guys. And he's been humble and just, he's been grinding. And the past 2 weeks, you're really starting to see, similar to those freshmen, even though he's a little bit older, like he's used to the style now. He's used to the tempo. He's used to, straining a little extra and, really taking key to the little details of everything. So, he's only going to continue to get bigger, faster, stronger, and all those things. And I can't wait to watch him in the spring. And then, like I said, reassess and have a great plan for him in the summer.
You've had a couple weeks under your belt now, and obviously there was a ton of leadership. You lost 30-plus seniors last year, and a ton of leadership goes on to greener pastures. And now you see a new leadership starting to take place. So who are some of those new leaders that are emerging through these first couple of weeks of getting back together in the weight room?
I mean, it's not too much of like new leadership. These guys have always been leaders by, obviously, yes, what they've done on the field, but more so what they do off the field and in the classroom and all those things. So, your DOs, Dylan O'Quinn, your Jabari Taylors, your Arquan Bushes, your Will Hubers, those guys have always been leaders. It's just now it's like, even more known because they came back for certain reasons. And it wasn't to have more statistics. It was to keep what we have going and to, continue to leave that legacy and standard of this is how we do things. This is how we do everything. And, I think one guy that I think and I know I say it a bunch, but it's just, has been not surprising, but just great to see is Hicksy kind of evolving because, he never had to be the alpha leader of his room. I mean, he grew up in a room of Derek Forrest and, James Wiggins, who just, a freak show. And then obviously Brian Cook, who, was Derek Forrest and James Wiggins combined, except taller. And, so now, Hicksy's the guy. And there's a lot of young guys in that room, a lot of guys that haven't played as much. And, he's got to rely on those guys. And, like I tell these guys, man, football isn't everything. Like, you could go out there and, catch 30 balls and score touchdowns, all that stuff. But if you're not held accountable to yourself, how are your teammates going to hold you accountable? So living right, being on time, doing everything right, not messing up, getting good grades, like it all plays into being a great football player. So been really proud to see his growth in that area. Evan Prater, again, learned from the best, but so did Ben Bryant. And Ben Bryant and Dez pushed each other. Ben and Evan had a year together. So those guys, it's like Dez and Ben 2.0, having those guys train together every day and, really cohesive work together and iron sharpens iron, all that stuff. But it is, man. It's been. You still got Lenny T and Wiley kicking ass. You know, I mean, it's just running back room, whiteout studs. I mean, Trey Tucker's really emerged as, you know, really the leader of everything. Play hard guy, and just everything he does is, I mean, phenomenal.
You know, right in line with the leaders and the upperclassmen. Let's talk a little bit more about those, the true freshmen and kind of the redshirt freshmen. Have you kind of had to see maybe like an adjustment in the culture or the baseline testing and baseline workouts and goals as the talent level and the kind of the recruitment level has picked up since you first got here back 5-6 years ago? Or have you kind of tried to keep it the same and then adjust as you see fit?
I mean, no, we're going to stay true to who we are and how we do things and why we do it. But you're always adapting. You're always evolving. You're always trying to develop yourself as a coach as well as the team. I think I said it before, but that's what I love about every offseason is, especially in January, your team is born in the offseason. So no matter what happened the year prior, even like in 2020, the COVID year, and then all those guys came back, well, the team was still different. There's still, a mix of, a lot of older guys and this and that. But, I think what's really cool is, I don't really give goals to guys like, hey, you need to bench this, you need to squat this, you need to run that, because, I mean, really, you're setting individual goals every single day, and we're breaking them. And then we're going to set a new goal, just like in the game of football, just like in the game of life. And, obviously I wouldn't lie, though, as the recruiting has enhanced, it obviously helps, in the development area. I think there's going to be a really cool graphic to see here soon, talking about our program as a developmental program where, I think it was a big article that was released where they reclassified our 2018 class as the number 4 in the country. And it's like, I was telling Vic, I was like, well, they're going to have to update that again next year because there's still some guys here from that class that they're not done. And, we take pride on that because stars don't mean everything. And, I know Coach says it all the times. We get the right ones, and that's what matters.
How fun is it to find the next right ones, right? I mean, you did such a great job of it through the first iteration of this program. It feels like this is the second, like the sequel almost, the start of the sequel. How fun is it to be like, all right, which ones are the next? Who's the next Defo? Who's the next Kobe? Who's the next Dez? Along those lines.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of watch how I say things sometimes just because, I never want guys to live up to the guys before them. Like,
no, of course, but you know what I mean. Like, here's a better way to put it. Here's a better way to put it. How fun is it to know you're about to find a new, you're about to find a new set of leading characters in this story?
Yeah,
not that story anymore. It's a new story, and you got to find new leading characters.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's the best way to put it. That's my whole motivation to every individual is, everybody writes their own story. They write their own legacy. And, we're so grateful to have the Derek Forrest, the Kobe Bryants, all those guys before us, the Des Ritters, Majes, and you could go on. And it's, those guys look up to them and they're enshrined in our weight room forever. Like there's pictures of them. Their names are everywhere. All the awards and, just all that stuff. And it's very exciting because, like I said, there's going to be a lot of familiar faces that now are in, kind of promoted as the faces, and rightfully so. Those guys should be. But it kind of is exciting to sit back when you think about that. I mean, I think my guys and I were actually talking about that a little bit today. We were looking at the college football playoff poster with all the faces on there. And it was like, oh, all those guys are gone. That's cool. But it was like, whose faces were still on there? Wiley was up there, and it was like, why? Yeah. And I mean, we know Trey Tucker's going to be up there, and Dio and Jabari and, all these guys. And, but yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. It is. It's very exciting.
And then you put Eastern Michigan's poster on the wall, and you were like, him.
Yeah. No, we pull up his old, first day picture. We put that up there. Skinny Ben.
That was my favorite part when he transferred. They put a picture of him up in the UC like his his UC uniform, and everybody was like, "Man, these edits are getting crazy." that looks so real.
That's how good they are, you know.
Well, Brady, we've talked about speeds and leadership step up. Can you tell us someone kind of just in the weight room who's caught your eye that you haven't mentioned yet? That's kind of made some like big improvements over the last
month. Big improvements. I think Ivan Pace is really starting to kind of stand out, which is cool to see. Isaiah Cox, he's been really standing out the past week or so. Jaden Thompson's doing really well. Drew Donnelly, obviously, from his speed, but more so just his work ethic, his intensity, just his daily approach. There's a lot of young D linemen doing really well. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to really pinpoint one, but those guys for sure.
Will Pauling looks absolutely chiseled.
Yes, he does. Like I said, he looks like a 40-year-old man in the face and the body of an 18-year-old.
How excited were you to get outside and do some work outside today?
Oh, I loved it. When last night and Saturday, I was like looking at the weather and I'm like, we don't need to go to the bubble. It's going to be like 60. And, that was fun today. Each group that came in, I told them, all right, speed school's in the nip. They're all jacked up. And, you know what? It was good to do that too, because, you don't get the opportunity in the winter to go outside as much. And, to me, it was a good time to do that because, we pride ourselves on anything that we do in NIP. It means something. And, yes, this was the last speed school and we're getting ready for spring ball. But when we step onto that turf, I told him, I said, we haven't lost here in 4 years. There's a reason why. Yes, you play really good football, but it's also because the work that you do in here, nobody else does. And it's the intent and the purpose and the passion in which you do it. So that was really cool. And obviously beautiful day. Sun was out. And, it definitely was good. Good for the psyche, good for the changeup.
You did that because you wanted to pretend you were still in Mexico, right?
Yeah, I had to keep my base tan going.
Exactly. So we probably won't talk to you again before the NFL Combine. Let's talk about those old players real fast. If you had to take a guess, who would be the one or two participants from Cincy that you would think probably tests with the best numbers and kind of draws some big talk around their name?
Alec Pierce, number one. Ahmad and Majay for sure, but Beaver, all of them. Number one is just going to be Alec just because, there's not many wideouts that do what he can do. And, if Dez did everything, which I'm sure he's not going to do everything under the sun, but Dez is going to run extremely well. He's going to look really good. He's going to do amazing in his interviews and all that stuff. Ahmad's going to really make a lot of noise because all the stats and recognition, he's going to put it to test and he's going to run a 4.3 and he's going to look beautiful. Beavers, freak of nature. Majay, running, hopefully a 4.5 at 250, hello. And if Cookie's shoulder allows him to do any testing, he's going to obviously dominate. Kobe Bryant is going to run really well and he's going to do extremely well. There will be no surprises there. It's going to be a smorgasbord of a lot of good juice.
So back to the team real quick before we have to let you go. What do the final weeks of a session like this look like?
You kind of start getting into what we call OTAs, which is kind of like prepping into spring ball so that, day one of spring, you're not like, all right, this drill's over here and we flow from here to this and that. So that's really good to do because the kids kind of start getting into the rhythm and the schedule of, because, in the spring, You practice in the mornings, obviously in the falls, in the afternoon, and it's a good mix up. It's good to do that, but and you also you're not going for strength gain. I mean, we're always gaining. We're never maintaining or anything like that, but you're obviously going to start to tweak how you're doing certain things and start to add, in our world, some accommodating resistance with chains and stuff like that. Take a little bit of the top end load off or the bottom end load off, and it's just a little fun tweak here and there. But the mentality is the same, the standard's the same, and it's just kind of not gearing down, but kind of shifting into another gear and then getting ready to amp back up.
Brady, you a quick shift as well. You love tacos. You've mentioned it before. So tell us, what was your best meal in Mexico?
Best meal had to be like all the food that was on like the outside of the pool, and like every night they would have setups or like some type of show or light show or live dancing and just all kinds of Mexican culture stuff, and there'd be people out there grilling up steaks, and they'd have make your own taco stands and chips and salsa and guac and just so much stuff. But that was probably the best food that I had, was just walking around eating some of that.
Okay, can't go wrong.
No.
I don't know how long.
Did you have your own swim up pool like Sherry did right outside her room?
No, we were on the top level. We were right on the beach, right over the ocean. So it was unbelievable.
So your swim up pool was the ocean. Okay, good.
Yes. Swim up pool was walking out to the ocean.
What was the name of the resort if one wanted to try and encapsulate the same vacation that the Bearcats went on?
Oh, man. Great question. It was called Secrets Akuma Riviera Maya.
I went to Riviera Maya for my honeymoon for the marriage that didn't last. So
How'd that work out?
Riviera Maya. Don't go to that one. Make sure you go to the other one that Brady just mentioned. Golly.
Well,
All right,
Brady,
man.
Brady, we got to let you go, right?
Yep. Or unless you got one more, I can give you one more.
All right, one more. Let's see.
Brent's
here.
always got one more.
Oh, I mean, Brady had me over one night. We spoke for hours and upon hours. But one more, Brady. It's my birthday this weekend. I'll be in town for the basketball game. You got time for me?
Absolutely. Come
is,
down to the dungeon.
There we go, baby. Actually, yeah, let's do it. Little fitness test. I'm in.
Absolutely.
I want to see what Brent's top speed is.
My top speed catapult couldn't even compute it. They'd
12.
say too slow. How many tiers do you have? 6 tiers? I'd be on the 8th or the 10th.
I think it starts at 10, then it kind of dwindles down to 7.
Okay.
So there you go. Don't sell yourself too short.
Thank you. Too fast, too furious. There you go.
You're right.
All right, Brady.
As
Thank you
always,
so much,
thanks,
man.
Coach.
Oh, appreciate you guys. Look forward to the next time we catch up.
No doubt. Have a
All
good
right.
one. Thanks, Brady.
See ya.
See you, man. The legend. One Brady Collins. Always fun.
Brent said to me during the game yesterday,
This should be good.
We're gonna have to get Brady on tomorrow. With the way it was like, they were down like 16 early in the second half. Like, I think we're gonna have to get Brady on tomorrow. I was like, probably right.
Yeah.
Now, did he tell it to you though, or did he whisper it first?
Well, so the farther the game got on, and the louder the crowd got, the quieter Brent got when he was trying to talk to me. And there's like, they made a couple shots in the last, like, right in that final minute, and he leans over and he whispers something to me. And I was like, I can't hear you. Like, talk, Brent. You're the Bearcat Bounce, back at it. And you're the loudest dude on the planet. We're sitting 3 feet from each other there's 10,000 people in the arena making noise, and you're whispering to me.
Have you guys seen the movie Don't Look Up? It's out there.
Yeah.
It's got awards coming for it. The meteor is coming towards Earth, an asteroid, if you will. And they're trying to like slowly tell people about this sad disaster, and it's just falling upon deaf ears. I was seeing this sad, crazy disaster, and I was getting quieter and quieter. It was falling upon deaf ears. That's all it was. But no.
He thought I was like mad at him for talking to me, and I'm like, I can't hear you.
To be honest with you, I've been going through like a little bit of a bug. I'm over it. I was over it yesterday, but my hearing was just all stuffed up, So like, I'm not gonna lie to you. We got to the interview room, the press conference room.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear a word anyone was saying, and I was like, are we just being like really quiet right now, or like what's going on? It was a comment. Thank you, Brian Johnson. Good movie. I don't think it should win Best Picture. No. Not a great movie. Good movie. Not great, but I'm gonna have a movie thing on this chat. You don't like movies though.
It's not that I don't like movies. I just don't have 2 hours to sit down and watch a movie.
Right. Well,
it's a busy job. Bearcat Journal.
Yeah. Life is life. But I tell you what, let's touch a little bit more about the whole combine obviously is a week away or week and a half away. But
life
still,
is life.
It is, Aaron. Do you disagree?
True story. It's a true story. Life is factually, life is life.
It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. But yes, I agree, Brian. But no, it's awesome seeing recently you get some posts about workouts and current numbers and everything. And then Dave Simone during the whole senior week was saying, I'm not going to give much credence to Joe whatever who has 150 followers saying this or that about Desmond Ritter or Sauce Gardner or different players who were working out. But now you're starting to see these big time mentions. Mike Renner today said Desmond Ritter is the only QB I draft this year with a realistic expectation of him starting early on as a rookie. Matt Miller puts Sauce Gardner as his number one quarterback. Things are starting to become extremely real for this draft class where, we were kind of always high on them getting drafted up in those first round, second round, first day, second day, higher. But it's looking like they're even progressing higher as this entire offseason wears on.
Well, as Brady said, these guys are going to test really, really well. Like he knows. Like he has trained them to this point. He is well aware of how these guys are going to test, how they're going to run, how they're going to jump, how they're going to look in shorts and no shirt. And it's exciting. Sorry, my voice is on the verge of collapse.
That's good.
After 3 hours of radio today and the Sub-A-Thon on Friday, I am
keep the whiskey flowing.
I am almost at a place of collapse in my voice, which
how many more days?
Not good for somebody. It's not good for somebody who's got 3 more days of radio this week.
Keep
told you, man.
Flowing.
Tea and honey, gargle salt water.
Oh, yeah, I did a quick story. I did a national tournament down in Dayton, Tennessee, and I had to broadcast 7 basketball games a day. And the second that I got there, like a crazy cold hit me, and I completely lost my voice, and I had no idea how I was going to be able to do this. But like you said, Aaron, tea, honey, and a lot of excitement, man. I somehow made it happen. But the weirdest thing was broadcasting a dunk contest on the radio. I mean,
that sounds awful.
It was horrible. I kept on saying, "Oh my gosh, you should have seen that." Wait a minute, you couldn't see it. It was fun though. It was
unreal.
Fun. It was fun. But no, this football team, we mentioned how all these draft players are moving on, and I kind of asked a question to Brady about it as the recruit rankings kind of level up each year in and year out. Does does it kind of change when these new players come in? Are they all of a sudden, are these freshmen to the level of what a sophomore was development wise right off the bat because they are a little higher rated, a little bit further along in the process? And
Not really. No.
yeah,
I mean, they're maybe a bit more physically gifted, or
Right.
they have maybe an extra tool in the toolbox.
Mhm.
But you still have to come in and learn what this really takes. Like, does it maybe happen a step faster than somebody that took 2 years to figure it out? Maybe they figure out in a year and a half. That part is possible. But from the starting point, I think there's so much that you still have to mentally be able to, figure out and be able to digest. That I think you start pretty much where everybody else starts. I think you just, maybe you can read the book a little faster, right? Like
Right.
your words per minute are a little bit higher, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So take a player like, we mentioned him a couple of times already, like a JQ Hardaway. He might be one that, like you said, had the Spark Notes version, and he's already through, the first semester, if you will. But
Right.
another player who Aaron was able to mention was also on the speed list today. Oh my gosh, his name is escaping me.
Kevin
Willis.
Willis.
Yeah, he's a player who he camped, he performed really well. They loved his speed, and like Brady said, he comes in a little timid and also probably coming off the injury as well. So maybe it's players like that take a little bit more time to get up to speed, and once he's there, it really shows.
Seems like at 21 miles an hour, he's up to speed.
It's a good way to put
I
it.
see what you did there.
Good way to put it.
See what you did there.
Good way to put it. So what? Spring practice starts on the 5th. Do they is Squat Fest then that Friday right before spring practice, or is that completely in the summer? I'm trying to remember.
Squat Fest is a summer deal.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was trying to remember.
That's it's basically the final thing they do before they take a little bit of time off in July and then get ready to report for camp.
Right.
So it's kind of the end of the summer workout program.
Man, I mean, this seems exciting, and as spring practice draws near, it's going to obviously we'll be able to kind of nitpick and break down things. But you guys spoke with Malik, and it seems like he kind of was peeling back the curtain a little bit on the defensive line and things of that sort. And in his voice and the way he was talking about the team, it seemed like there was a subtle confidence, as the young players are getting older and improving and everything like that. So it's going to be fun to watch, especially, as we're going to be able to bring it to you every day.
I'll be there.
Day. You will. There's no doubt.
Every single day. I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Like I spring football is always one, I like it more than camp because I don't have to drive to higher ground every day. I just have to drive to campus every other day.
Right.
Which is good. But there's a lot more unknown in spring ball that gets answered.
Right.
And then by the time you get to the end of spring ball and the spring game, you have some answers about what things are going to look like at camp. And like I said, I don't think this is a new chapter. I think we already read the first book of Luke Fickell in Cincinnati is ended in Dallas.
Right.
I think. And now we're getting book 2. And there are some of the same characters that are in book 1 that are in book 2, but the main characters kind of moved on outside of Fickell and Brady. The main, not just the players, but Denbrock and Freeman and Brian Mason and a lot of the lead stories in the first book are no longer here, and the main character of book 2 is still here, but he's going to have a lot of change and who tells this story. And that's fascinating.
It is. It truly is. And it's gonna be something exciting to watch. And obviously we've got a little bit more time until we have a full deep dive into that. But
we got one more BBP and then spring football starts. Think about that.
Oh yeah. I mean that's exciting. That is
next Monday is our final BBP before we get to the start of spring ball on Saturday, March 5th.
Love that.
Are you guys going to all be in the house
on that 5th?
Saturday, March 5th? Early, probably early morning. You might have to come down the night before, Brent.
Right. Well, I'll be there this Saturday. It's an up in the air. There's a trip that I'm currently planning on going on, so we'll see.
What country do you have a wedding in this
I told you he'd have a wedding.
No wedding. But it's a
bachelor party.
Little convocation is what we call it. So it'll be fun. But no, it's going to be something that every single day I bet will bring a new story with it. So I'm definitely interested to hear what does stem from it. But
wait, so you're getting engaged?
No, I'm not getting engaged.
That would bring a new story every day.
No, I'm not. I'm not getting engaged. Just want to make sure.
Would we have to broadcast an episode of The Bounce from your wedding, like Aaron and I?
Man, if you don't, sure. Make it like be the 12-hour one.
What country would it be in though, Chad?
I went to a wedding in France, and like, get this,
this fucking guy.
We literally no. We literally woke up and started like drinking and had little patisseries and different things of that sort, and
I hate
you. Just literally drank the entire day.
Okay,
and guess when they served for you? Guess when they finally served dinner?
10 o'clock at night.
10 p.m. at night.
Yeah, that's what they do in Europe. They're weird, man.
No, it's insane. Got people that couldn't even stand up. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. Party just wore on. It was good.
What's that have to do with me and Aaron doing a podcast at your wedding?
I was saying it would have to be the Sub-A-Thon version because we're going all night.
12 hours.
We're going
15.
all night.
It's 15.
All night long. All night. But well, speaking of all night long, I've been thinking about yesterday's game all night long. It's been something that has been keeping me up. But before we mention that, as we transition into basketball, I do want to talk about one thing. Daniel Skillings. Wes Miller was on the Sub-A-Thon in a Philly coffee house, and then 1 or 2 hours later, witnessed one of the better dunks that you've seen out of a Cincinnati recruit since probably Gary Clark. Threw one down in his highlight tapes. You go back and watch those, man, Gary was crazy. But that Daniel Skillings dunk was unbelievable.
Why in the world would that kid jump? What are you thinking? Like, you're about to literally be on a poster. Don't jump.
Aaron,
dude,
do you have a
imagine
picture?
If we walked around like Berg the whole Sub-A-Thon, Aaron?
I'd be dizzy.
What did he do? Did he walk around the whole thing?
The whole time.
That's what he does. That's what he does. When he I didn't know this because we didn't back when Berg was doing podcasts. We just were doing Skype audio podcasts.
Yeah,
but he walks the entire time. He paces his house the entire time he's on. I would be so out of breath, Aaron.
I mean, my legs fidget. My legs fidget, but man, I couldn't imagine walking.
I woke up at 8:30 the next morning with a terrible cramp in my calf. I guess from just how I was for sitting for 15 hours.
Yeah.
You got up and moved around.
Not much.
I really didn't.
Yeah, Aaron, you were kind of sitting down the whole time. You didn't really
I sat down most of the time.
Right? Yeah.
If we put a running clock, I was probably sitting for 14 of the 15 hours.
Right.
That's probably right. I feel like I was even more
You were probably 14 and a half of the 15 hours.
Yeah, I mean, at some point I did move the stool out to where I was like standing at the desk.
Yeah.
But I almost had wished I had one of those like exercise balls. I thought about that about halfway through the stupid Sub-A-Thon, where I'm like, man, if I had one of those exercise balls, I could be like bouncing, moving around, like not just sitting on this chair that gets harder by the hour.
Yeah, in my office we have the standing desks.
Yeah.
Those help from time to time because there are days that, especially when I've got to write up, I'll be in there from 7 until 1 a.m. So believe me, I completely know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that Daniel Skillings dunk, first off, gotta mention that. Aaron, what were your thoughts when you saw the Daniel Skillings dunk, and how many technicals are being handed out if that was in a college game?
Well, my initial thought was, I hope if I play this video on the Sub-A-Thon, which is what we did, that I can play it and it doesn't just jump and skip all around as
What did
videos
it do?
tend to do. It was golden from everything that I understood. I think it worked. I did play it from Instagram, which normally I play videos from Twitter. Maybe that was the difference. I also had my computer instead of the computer here in Athens. Perhaps that was the difference. I wasn't, with other people in the house streaming other things and what have you. So I don't know. But that was my initial concern when I saw the dunk. Second, that dunk was nasty. We don't have anyone who can fly like that, and if we did, I'd be concerned that they'd come down funny and potentially be out the next game. So we haven't had a flyer like that. Who's the last person on this team that could dunk like that? I mean, can you even name the last person on this team who could dunk like that?
Drake could dunk like that.
Keith, but was his like as athletic as that? Like,
Keith for sure.
Even then, Keith, but I feel like he preferred the layup over like, I'm going to go two hands on you.
Dan didn't go two hands; it was one-handed.
I mean, yes, but I think Dan has.
But like taking off from that distance, yeah, it had like some like, go back to like a James White feel to it. But I mean, Keith threw down. I mean, Jake could throw down. I mean, it just was like, I'm trying to think who really had that killer mentality. I mean, if Jaron could rise up, like that was like I don't know, Jaron on a fast break is absorbing contact and trying to lay it up. Daniel
speaking of Jaron, in the house the other night.
Awesome that they recognized him. I was waiting for it, and it came, and man, he deserves a lot because his senior year, man. I will die on this hill. If things were as they could have been, and Mick Cronin was around for his senior year, I think Jaron is in the running for National Player of the Year. That's my take, and I don't think it's that far fetched. But aside from that, yeah, great for him to get shout out. But that seemed like it was a fast break, and instead of just trying to lay it up, absorb contact, and get an and one, Skilling said, "I'm going to go over you," and it's just, man, that's going to be a lot of fun to have on the team, especially with that kind of mentality as well. And then, of course, you in the midst of that, you hear the 2020 game put up by yet. So here's the biggest thing. Question. As the current roster constructs, and a quick glimpse into the future, because we're going to talk about the Temple game a little bit, but not too much. Skillings and Reed, how quickly are they implemented into what this team is going to do? Because it seems to me, watching and hearing and seeing both of them play, seems like they are as college ready. Probably maybe Reed a little bit more at this point, just kind of body wise. I don't know. Although Skillings looks great. Are they immediate day one rotational big minute guys?
Big minute guys, probably not. Rotational guys, yeah, probably. Dan's going to need to get a little stronger. I don't think Josh is going to have that problem. I think Josh will get up to speed pretty quick. in terms of the weight room because he's already got kind of a bigger frame.
Right.
But they'll both be guys that warrant minutes. It's just, well, the other thing we don't know, like, what's the roster look like?
Right.
What are the subtractions? What are the additions? Do those additions play a similar position as Reed and Skillings? Like, we don't have any idea yet, but as we have talked about, they are definitely going to add some needed size and length into this program, and that alone should give them an opportunity to earn some minutes, if you will.
And then Sage's numbers are getting better week in and week out. I mean, not often you just bring in a 7-footer. I can imagine he might start to see some looks as well, depending on if they go for a big in the portal. Obviously, they really want one. It's been spoken about. So maybe even Sage, a big offseason in the weight room. Who knows?
He's going to have to get a lot stronger before he's ready for the college grind.
Mm-hmm.
But never know. We'll see how he takes to the Monster Factory.
That we will. Aaron, speaking of Monster Factory, did you have to maybe pump some iron to take out some frustration after the game yesterday, or were you able to kind of just stomach a tough sweep against the Temple Owls? That game was frustrating because the first half I was frustrated, and man, you listen to Wes Miller in the post game. He comes in, Chad. I mean, he threw that stat sheet down. You can kind of tell he had a little bit more just. And he immediately said he was disappointed. Immediately kind of just latched onto that. And that was, we had seen that a little bit before, but it kind of felt like that was a strength more evident yesterday than I had seen most recently or all season. So, Aaron, first thoughts on the game. Break it down.
Well, I got to drive the 2.5 hours back to Athens.
Wow.
So I had to set the cruise control so I wasn't doing like 90.
You had my drive, yeah. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, Wes Miller said it when we talked to him. I don't know if you've gone back and listened to any of the Sub-A-Thon that you weren't actually on, but it's no knock on you. It's a lot to go through. But he said it when he was on with us. He said, I'm pissed after a loss. I'm pissed. The fans should be pissed. I'm pissed after a loss. So I don't think disappointed even covers the range of emotions he was probably feeling after that loss, especially dropping one at home to a team that, had you played the first half the way you played the second half, we're probably talking a different story. It was a frustrating game as a fan. It was a frustrating game I can only imagine as a coach. I don't know. This team is going to disappoint at times. This team is going to win games that we don't believe that they were going to win at times, and they lose some games as well. I mean, it's a gamut of emotions with this team. It's his first year. It's not his guys that he would necessarily have here in 3 years, 4 years. He put a team together in 30 days, and I still think it's been rather successful, all things considered.
Yeah. Chad, he did seem a little bit extra frustrated from what I could tell. I don't know if you kind of sense that the same thing.
He's pretty equally pissed after every loss. Right. I mean, maybe Memphis was the one where it was like they had more dudes than we did.
Right.
He definitely felt they could have beat Temple, not that they should have necessarily, with the way they played in the first half. But hopefully they found something in that second half defensively that allows them to get back on track on that end of the floor going forward.
Yeah.
Over these final 4 games of the regular season, 3 of them on the road against 3 of the teams that are. Where's UCF at? They're probably going to get a bye, aren't they?
What do you mean? Where? Oh, yeah. I think they're 1 or 2 above Cincinnati, like 6 or 5.
The top 5 get a bye. They're right there in the mix for a bye.
Right.
Although there are some reports that Brandon Mahan might not play
I did see that.
Wednesday, which would be good because he
The
put
Bearcat
it on the
killer.
Bearcats pretty good last year.
Yeah.
I think the effort in the first half was lacking. He won't make the excuse for them. I saw a team that looked tired in the first half. If not physically, mentally, a team that had played a lot of games in a short span. It's a Sunday at 2:00. You're asking them to get, and I know it's what's expected of them. But they're 18 to 22-year-olds, 23. They're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. So I saw a team that just didn't look sharp, much more so than like a team that wasn't trying, if that makes sense. I just think they were off their game. And, you play a team like that the scouting report is they can't shoot, right?
Yep.
And it's demoralizing when they go and make 8 of 10 threes in the first half, because you're in some ways you're probably doing what the scouting report wants, which is making them shoot from the perimeter. Right. But we've talked about this a million times. Even bad shooters make wide open rhythm shots. Like, those are the easiest shots to make.
Yeah.
There's not a hand in your face. You're catching the ball in rhythm and you're just letting it loose. Mm-hmm. And they got, in the first half, they got a lot of those that led to that 8 of 10 shooting performance. And you get down, they were down, 19-6 at the under 8 stop. And that's mentally tough to fight back from. It's actually, if you look the rest of the second half, or rest of the first half, offensively, they kind of got off the schneid and got up to, they're 34 at halftime? It's 47-33, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I thought the biggest play of the game in terms of momentum happened, the biggest sequence of the game in terms of momentum happened right before the half.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's clawing back. They're down 11. They get a rhythm look for Davenport. They cut it to 8. And if you get a stop, you go in, you played a terrible half, but you're only down 8. And you're feeling a little bit better about yourself that you're starting to get some flow, and you got some stops toward the end of the half, and maybe things are feeling a little better. Davenport misses, they get a rebound, they come down, they hit a 3, they get fouled, they don't make the free throw. But instead of going in single digits, down 8, you go into down 14.
Right.
And then they came out, it looked like it's still struggling with the similar thing, and they get down 16 or 17 before they slowly start to chip away. And I just think that game would have been totally different if they go into the half down 8. And they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, and the thing about that final possession for Temple is that, yes, they are 330th in the country in 3-point shooting percentage coming into the game, but they have one guy. Not anymore. But they have one guy who is good, who is a good 3-point shooter, and that's Zach Hicks. And who was left wide open with a late closeout on that final defensive possession to end the half. It was Zach Hicks.
Yeah.
And that's who got the 4-point play. So, it just seemed like there were some breakdowns, like you said. And it's not because they weren't trying. They were flying all over the place, but maybe just, like you said, it's a little bit, I don't know. It's inconsistent is the main word that you can really say about this team. And I don't know
consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, that's very safe to say. And I think Justin Williams might have put that in his title or something along those lines. But it just is. It's something that this team. I mean, they beat Illinois. Like, Illinois went on the road.
Can we stop with that? That was like a season and a half ago. Can we
I know
stop
it was,
but
I'm just pointing out how inconsistent it is, and it just. the ebbs and flow of the year obviously have hit the point where now everyone knows exactly what this team has, and I just don't think the firepower is there to respond to what opposing teams know that they want to do. So, and it goes back to what we were talking about on the Sub-A-Thon when I came on. I know the easy answer is win. Do whatever it takes to win every day, to win every practice, win every game, this, that, and the other. Like what now is the adjusted purpose within the locker room for the team? Do players want to, send Abdul and Hayden off in a big way? Do they want to, what kind of is the driven purpose? Do they want to go to whatever postseason might be available, whether it's CBI, CIT, NIT, who knows? Whatever gets thrown their way, or if they get absolutely a magical run and hit every three they take, and that's me talking in La La Land. But What is the adjusted purpose for the team? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't think anyone really does, but
I don't think it changes. Like, win games. Like,
yeah,
get out there and get some dubs.
Right.
Get to 20. I don't think that's necessarily anything they care about specifically, but you get what I'm saying. Like, go win some games. Like,
right.
Finish the season strong.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be like a stat sheet, analyzer, but it's tough when teams completely are trying to take away David DeJulius, and that's evident. And a team like Temple has the length that frustrates David DeJulius, and when you're able to kind of minimize his effect, you need to have players like Micah Adams-Woods or Mikey Saunders kind of step up and take some of that load off. And I mean, the two of them combined for,
I'll pull it up. I got it right here.
Micah was 2 of 15. Mikey was 0 of 4, 0 of 3 from 3. Micah was 2 of 9 from 3.
Right.
I'm interested with Micah. He is starting to see an increase in aggressiveness, an increase in the need for him to hunt his shot on.
We saw DeJulius struggle with that last year, right? Where when the team really needed him to step up and do more, he maybe wasn't ready for it. I'm interested to see if going forward, maybe this is what Micah is going through right now, where it's one thing to know, like, okay, I'm probably going to have 5, 6, 7 shots tonight.
Right.
Try to be super efficient. Let's try to take the best shots that we can take, as opposed to, look, teams are doing everything they can to take Dave away. So now I'm going to have to step up, and I'm going to have to, like, be the guy that, gets teams to back off of their pressure on Dave. That puts a lot of heat on him that he's never experienced before. Is this an adjustment period, or is this who he is? Because there's a big distinction between that. If it's an adjustment period, it means next year he's more ready to handle that role when necessary.
Right.
If this is who he is, then this problem is going to continue into next year, because it's not like teams next year aren't going to look back at this year and go, look, if you take DeJulius away, if he comes back, we don't know, that decision is going to be, but if you take DeJulius away, they don't have anybody outside of Davenport that can score, and we don't think Davenport can beat us. Micah's going to have to be ready, to play that role in a more consistent fashion.
I kind of want to know your guys' thoughts on, and I mean, I am not a head coach. I'm not a coach. I'm none of that. But maybe it seems as if when they do pass Dave the ball, that's when the attention is completely thrown at Dave. So what
teams are blitzing ball screens,
right?
So they're jumping him,
right,
and trying to get the ball out of his hands.
So what if you have Dave bring the ball up?
They've done that more,
right? And Micah excelled when he was kind of just that stand-up shooter, or finding his place on a cut and able to lay it up quickly before defense can react, and slashing and things of that. And I don't know. It just seemed as if when Micah has the ball, bring it up, kind of just eats some shot clock off. Then they get the motion going. I don't know. Have Dave bring it up. That might adjust the defense against him. And I mean, you're not going to blitz him right away.
Yeah, but you can't. You are, because
Right,
if you're doing that, like, you're setting the target. You're not running any offense, and he just has the ball in his hands. So they've done a little bit more of having him bring the ball up, give it up, and then running him.
Yeah.
There's
That's
been some
kinda what
baseline runner. There's been some, multiple screen actions to try to get him a little space where he's catching the ball with the ability to play one-on-one, as opposed to catching the ball or handling the ball off of just ball screens. So there's been an attempt to do a lot of those things, but you got to make shots. Like that's what it comes. You're not going to take the heat off Dave if the other guards aren't productive.
Mm.
It's the same as like if your team can't shoot and they just pack it in on you and say, "Come get some."
Right.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but they ran an awful lot of press, whether it be full court or half court. Temple, in particular, ran an awful lot of press on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was token. Like they weren't really trapping; they were just doing it. Cincinnati right now is having to grind through offense to try to make something happen.
Right.
And by the way, I just want to clarify for people, when you complain about standing around on offense, those guys are setting picks. Like their job is to stand. Like when you look at it, like they're running a ton of action. They're doing yes, there are going to be like momentary pauses in set action, as the ball stops for a second.
Right.
But like we talked about last night, though, is the passing lanes were clogged because Temple's a long team.
Yeah.
And they were down. They were down one of their long guards. It just when you don't have. We saw in the Wichita game, when shots fall, everyone kind of gets in the groove. Everything's a little easier. Everything flows a little simpler. But obviously shots weren't falling. And also against a team like Temple, who scored 49 points at South Florida 2 weeks ago. I mean, stomach that for a second. They were actually making shots in the first half. And they have a good defense. So that actually gave them a chance to set up a defense. Yeah. Cincinnati wasn't making shots. They weren't able to set a defense. It's just all those things kind of tie into each other. And that first half is one I want to forget. There's no doubt I want to forget that. But Aaron, another thing we talked about after Wichita game is the fact that you saw Odioguama and Abdullah Doe look for their shot. Try and get some action down low in the post towards the basket. Odie was able to score double figures. Only shot the ball 4 times, I believe. Got some extra shots at the free throw line. Mm-hmm. Abdul was 0 shot attempts. I think just the absolute lack of a post presence just completely bottles up this team on top of everything else.
Well, when in all fairness, when you get an Abdullah Doe, when you get a Hayden Koval, they're not known for being offensive stalwarts. They're known for being defensive presences down low.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think you saw maybe one of Hayden's more aggressive games. I think he was doing everything he could during the game to try and be that defensive presence when he was in. And, you always see that effort out of Abdullah Doe. So I think you're trying to ask too much of a player of these types of caliber to be something that they haven't been over the course of what's now they're in their 6th season. Like you're not going to reinvent a player at the collegiate level in their 6th season.
I'm not asking that, but I'm
sorry.
Teams are kind of just completely taking them out. It's like they don't even exist on the court. I don't know. It's something that at this point, obviously it's not going to change, but it's something that just continuously, it's just,
it is who they are. Like
right. We all know it.
They're a team that's bad at they're bad at twos. So when they're cold from three, like here's the thing.
25%. We talked about it last night, Chad. 25%, right?
It's another way for me to try to explain this from people.
On what?
The threes versus twos.
Oh, yeah.
Stop jacking up threes. From three, you can go hot and cold, right? Like,
yeah.
You know what you don't generally do? Go hot and cold from two. Like, either you have guys that can finish at the rim or you don't. Like, now, there will be teams that you'll have an advantage over, right?
Right.
Where it's going to be a little bit easier to score from two.
Mm-hmm.
But against quality, high major type competition, if you're bad from two, you're going to be bad from two. This team is now under 43% from two in conference play.
Yep.
That is so stunningly bad. Stunningly bad. Under 43% from two.
Mm-hmm.
So doing it more is just ramming your head against the wall. You know what the crazy thing about the Temple game was? They were in the place that they were because they were good from where you never want to shoot. Like 15 feet, like 12 to 17 feet. That contested mid-range jumper,
right,
is where you want to avoid. You want threes and you want layups,
right.
Well, and here's another thing. They had 12 layups, 12 attempts at the rim. They had one dunk.
Yeah.
It's not an explosive team. No. It's not a team that finishes with authority. It's not a team that finishes above the rim. It's a below the rim team at the rim. And that includes most of their bigs.
Well, would you say, because you saw on the one drive late in the game, David DeJulius drives and looked like he had somewhat of an open lane. And then three players collapsed on him. And all three, I think, blocked the shot together. Like you got to give each one of them 0.3 of a block shot
right
on that play. And it's simply because every opposing big knows they can leave their man because they don't really have too much of a fear of either A, them getting some sort of a dump off and finish, or B, getting an offensive rebound and finish. It just seems as if that's kind of how teams are saying, okay, well, Micah Adams-Woods will drive hard. David Julius will drive hard. John Newman will drive hard and then stop and then do a fadeaway. But
they're not a threat at the rim. We can meet them. They're just not a threat.
Yeah, we can leave our guy and meet them because there's no – it's frustrating because, it's what
it is.
For all of us.
What it is. And,
growing pains, man.
It is, right, exactly. And the fact is, though, the cupboard was not extremely bare like it was for Mick Cronin, but
it wasn't full.
No, not by any means. But and you easily can argue the last regime had it set up golden, and of course that was kind of a yes. Thank you, Matt Lanham. Thank you. He can dunk. He can absolutely dunk. Thank you for the reminder. But it seems as if right now they're finding themselves, and it's kind of also a springboard to what next season and the upcoming seasons can be too. So hopefully down the stretch, I am a proponent because I saw it floating around Bearcat Twitter a little bit today about what if some sort of a postseason presents itself, do you accept it? I'm on the side 100% you accept it. I think more game time, more practice time, and the ability to end the season on a high note is what I want. And so you hope for that. And we'll see what happens because obviously this Wednesday, 9 p.m. at UCF. That sounds like fun. And then of course senior night against South Florida, 7 p.m. So I don't know.
That sounds like fun.
I mean, like a 9 p.m. tip. We always score low points at UCF. I mean, gosh.
Did either of you by chance catch any of Bearcat Twitter last night? Just
No, I went to my whole
how on fire things were about people
Student
blaming
section
the student section blaming the lower bowl, and the people upstairs who just were there to get drunk, and it's a mess. Just dial it back after losses like that. Just dial it back, take a beat, keep scrolling, or just
all things considered. I thought the crowd wasn't that bad.
I didn't either. I thought when the moment called for it, the place was really loud.
Yep.
I thought, you know what? You know when the crowd is a problem? When the team is down 19-6 at the under 8 or the under 12 media timeout.
When you score 2 points in the first 5 minutes.
And then when you come out of a timeout and Temple drills another 3. It just God.
What are you excited about? Like what? Of course everybody's on their hands. You know what everybody's thinking? This fucking sucks. Yeah. When a start is like that, finding energy is hard. So Kelly went to the game last night. She got some tickets from a friend of mine, and the friend of mine gave her 3 tickets, one for Kelly, one for Kelsey, one for me. And Kelly was like, well, Chad's got to work. He's not going to be able to sit with us. So they had an extra spot, and right about the 14-minute mark of the first half, I was like, I think I might go sit with Kelly. I think I might just shut the laptop. Let Brent watch my backpack. I'm going to go hang out with my wife for this one.
Man, it was just, it truly was one of those, even when there were some loose balls in the first half and they were kind of just bouncing around, it would fall right into the hands of a wide open Temple 3-point shooter.
Yep.
And he would pick it up off the ground and drill it. And it's just there were some bad percentage shooters nailing 3-point shots yesterday. And
they were also open and in rhythm.
Some weren't. Some were a little tougher.
Well, once you get hot, you're hot.
Right. But
once you let somebody start to feel it,
why do you think Davenport keeps taking threes behind the logo? He's just heat check.
He's shooting almost 40% from 3. As the person that sits behind me on Media Row said, when he shot that one from the logo with 24 seconds on the clock, he was like, what, they're going to run 22 seconds of offense, and that's the shot he's going to get anyway? And I'm like, yeah, not wrong. Yeah, you're probably right.
But it was frustrating then, that last, 6 minutes or so. First off, I think that one video where they're doing the queen back and forth, warm up singing. I mean, I think if there's a crazy situation and a highly contested game, close one back and forth, that's a, my friend was texting about it. I think that's going to be an awesome thing to kind of get the crowd into it and real loud. But every single time it looked like they were going to get closer, it was just a missed shot or a failed opportunity, and it just sometimes it's just not there, and it wasn't there for them. No, it wasn't.
Chad likes to say, sometimes you're the bug, sometimes you're the windshield.
Yeah. Gosh, man, they're so good when the shots fall, man.
Shocker.
Let's just see what happens.
Run the make shot offense more, Wes. Dumbass.
I mean, some of those shots were wide open, by the way.
All you can do is get wide open rhythm shots.
And so, you know what? Here's to hope. Obviously, we'll continue talking about basketball, and I think it's going to get a little bit of a oomph in the system. But right now, before we head into the mailbag, gentlemen, anything else as far as recruiting wise that you have been able to drum up or hear about, or I don't
Nope,
know.
that stuff will start to pit. We're getting close. We're
Right.
2 weeks away from, we'll start getting a bunch of recruits to spring practice,
Right.
and basketball will end, and things will turn to next year. So we're not far away. We're just in that little lull in the recruiting world. AJ
Sure.
Sally was
Yeah.
no longer needed in the recruiting class, I guess is the best way to put it. There were some weight issues that obviously Mike Cummings was concerned about. Actually, I heard 220. I heard today when he came down here, he weighed in at 213. I think Desmond Ritter's bigger than that. That's only 12 pounds heavier than Sauce. If you're going to play offensive line, 213 is a bad look.
Is that a wrestling thing that he like loses and gains it back, or is it just kind of a
Just not taking care of business?
yeah?
And plus, there were growing red flags on the academic side. So, just I know everybody hates it because he was loud and vocal and proud of his offer, but that doesn't mean you can stop taking care of business.
Right.
You got to continue to handle your business, and he did not do that. So that was the end of that.
You did see Tavion Galloway mention he's going to be in town on the 9th.
We're gonna be getting a lot of that.
Right. So when they come in, is that just like a unofficial visit type thing? Kind of
They come in and watch spring practice and talk to the coaching staff, kind of get a feel for what a practice, what the culture is like at Cincinnati, like what you're gonna do, how you're gonna work, what the game plan is for once you become a Bearcat.
Can only hope the weather holds up so that they can see Fifth Third yet again in all its glory. Not Fifth Third, geez. Nippert Stadium yet again in all its glory. Well, guys, is it time for the that old mailbag? What do you say?
There's not a ton in it.
Not a ton.
No, it's fairly light, and one of the questions in here was more of a request than a question.
Do we say thank you to 513shirts.com?
For handling the Sub-A-Thon? Yeah, of course. We're Mike and I from 513 Shirts are working on a new BCJ line of merch. Maybe a bounce, some bounce gear.
How are we?
I'm thinking we might have to put that on a shirt.
How are we?
How are
shaking your
we?
head, Aaron?
I think it just needs to be Brent, a caricature of Brent. Just
yeah, and the words
we?
"How are we?" in a bubble. Yeah,
It'd be beautiful.
he's got groupies over here in the chat.
It's gross.
What do you guys think? You guys want a Brent? How are we?
I wish I had
T-shirt?
a button where it would talk.
No, you can do that. You can get little soundboards that we could just we could record Brent saying "How are we?" and play it anytime we need it.
We could send like greeting cards or like our Christmas card every year, just the three of us together, and then you open it up and it's just a "How are we?" I like the idea.
I like the idea of a shirt that just says "See ya" with like, you can't do the CPA because it's trademarked, but if you could, that would be good.
Well, you could like funk it up a little bit,
I'm sorry, what word was that?
Funk.
15 hours. I'm still dragging.
Uptown, funk it up. Uptown.
Did you think I said
No, I didn't.
Hey Dan one?
I was making the joke, man. Come on. All right, so getting into the football version of the mailbag. Again, the mailbag's fairly light, so we'll hop right into it. Sorry, I'm waiting here for the bag to load. Since we're getting close, are the new locker room upgrades for football expected to be done in time for the start of spring practice? It would be nice to have it ready to show off to those non-official recruiting visitors.
Do you really think they're going to completely remodel the locker room in 2 months? No.
I mean, I feel like it was just being gutted, right?
They just started like the second week of January. It's been going on for a month. No, it's a project. It takes time. They will not be done. Malik Van said on the Sub-A-Thon, we're not allowed. Like the doors aren't even open. We're not allowed to even look in there. No, they got a ways to go.
That is something we've been pretty good about asking Brady for updates. We did neglect to ask him tonight, but next time we have him on.
I did at the game yesterday talk to someone who has agreed to come on one of the podcasts, and it'll probably end up being a solo mission because I don't think this person podcasts at night. So Aaron and I could do it. Brent, you'd have to take off work for an hour or so, probably.
Little lunch date.
Well, lunch, it's better than coffee.
Oh. I see what you did
if you
there.
will,
or even if you won't.
So we're working on setting up something with John Cunningham here soon to just kind of get an update on everything. Probably wait until I think tomorrow. The Luke contract is the board meets about Luke's contract. Maybe we'll give it another week or two and talk to John once things have settled a little bit and we can get maybe some more concrete, definitive answers on things like Luke's contract and the IPF and all that good stuff.
A little state of Cincinnati address.
I mean, we just had the two coaches, so we might as well get the AD.
Amen.
What a trio they've become.
Although I think Dave has requested that one, so Dave might call dibs on Cunningham.
How was his?
You might have to fight Dave for it.
He was no issue with rescinding him. I'm tired.
Oh, that's great.
All right. I often look at BCJ in the morning and this is the request, by the way, and not the rest of the day. Request, could you start these question threads the night before so us morning people have a chance to ask questions? Thanks. Especially we were during this regular season, the mailbag was jam-packed and we were going 2.5 hours sometimes to get through all the questions in lieu of the off season for all the sports. I think that's a fantastic idea. And I'll be sure to start posting those on Sunday evenings. That way we can potentially have more questions getting to the mailbag as things kind of die down a little bit, at least in the way of actual games to talk about.
But we still got to your question, Bearcat Band. We got your back.
We did. See?
The more you know. He's actually, our Bearcat Band actually has another question in the basketball side, I believe. So
okay.
Any chance we can see some off-season special guests? Would love to hear from some of the graduating seniors, Cope, Royer, or a digital team, Sharkey, Eichel, or the recruiting team, Lambert, Max. They would be really interesting, and I'm sure have some great stories.
We always do guests in the summer, and summer being kind of after we get out of spring football. And you kind of get into those lulls where you don't have a ton of team-specific stuff to talk about on either side. So, yes, we will be bringing on guests. Of course, I'm going to do what I can to get Royer and Cope on. I love those two dudes, and now that they're graduated, and this is the avenue for that. Like, we would have a lot of fun with those guys.
No holds bars, man.
Yeah. Digital team, possible. For sure. Eichel's a great dude. I don't know if Shark is a podcast. Like, I don't know if that's something that she's interested in. I'll ask her. I would love to have her on. She speaks softly and carries a big stick, if you will. She's not one that does a lot of chatting.
Some call it a tripod, Chad.
Ah, I see what you did there. Actually, she uses monopod a lot. Speaks softly and carries a big monopod.
The GOAT. He's the GOAT.
The recruiting team, yeah, probably not. That one's difficult because
Got tiptoe around that.
Right.
NCAA rules and violations, and I don't think it would go over well with compliance. And I just do my best to just not hear from compliance.
I can't picture a world where Zach says, "You're good."
I don't think it would be Zach. It would be compliance. Like Zach would be okay with it if you know.
I think it'd be an extremely difficult interview live. Just because there's so many things we have to tiptoe around.
Yeah,
Zach could be good though.
I would like to have Zach on at some point. He has to have some great stories. He's got
to have a lot.
He did hop on during the Sub-A-Thon.
He said he was going to come on at one point, and then Dave said something, and he was like, "Nope, that's a bad career move for me." And I was like, "No, you're right." We had gone.
Dave after dark.
Zach jumped in the chat like late, like after the family was in bed and he was done for the day. It's like 11:30. He jumped in the chat and was like, "What's up, fellas?" And we were like, "You should come on." And then we were like, no, we'll save it for some other time.
Yeah, that was
but I do have some questions after the mailbag about the Sub-A-Thon, but
Zach was the AD or the SID at Florida State for Jameis.
Yeah.
And he was also the SID at Tennessee during a lot of the chaos that happened at Tennessee. So that's a man with a lot of good stories.
Yeah, but how many of those stories are under NDA?
For him, probably not many. I wouldn't think.
Anything with Jameis, you don't think?
Why would he be under NDA?
I don't know. I mean, you're privy to some conversations as the Sid. I don't know.
I don't think any of it's going to get back to that guy. He's too busy eating W's, man.
That was the most uncomfortable thing. Thinking about some of the very poor offensive, this is the basketball portion of the mailbag, by the way. Thinking about some of the very poor offensive starts and how this team likes to dig holes too deep to climb out of. Miller's let them play style and offense has been cited as a reason big-time recruits find the opportunity at UC appealing. Considering the limitations of this year's team, do you think Miller should or could micromanage more on offense, or is letting them play more important to the future of the program than not?
Anthony. And I know you're wordy. We got to tighten up the questions. Tighten up the questions. Letting them play is how basketball is evolving. The more that your guys are comfortable with flow and how to operate inside that offense and that structure, the better that it will be long term. So maybe it's a little tough now because you don't have enough offensively skilled guys to really maximize the ability of what the idea in flow, which is it's a system that's more bred out of your players having a high enough basketball IQ to read and react the defense and to move the ball as the defense moves and then create mismatches and attack the mismatch. Right now, Cincinnati doesn't have enough guys to attack all of the mismatches, which is why you're seeing the guys getting shots blocked at the rim. Like, it's the right thing to do, but maybe in theory, the wrong guy to do it in that system of reading and reacting. As you introduce new guys, more talent, more length, more athleticism into the system, then you're only teaching the new guys the system, and the veteran guys know it. And see, I think this is a perfect example of where we're at. because that's what John Brandon wanted to run. He wanted to run flow. And what he realized is he didn't exactly have the guys in place to run it. So what did he do? He scrapped it. And he started going back to, let's have 30 design plays and counters and actions and reactions. And then you really get guys overthinking, especially when you're trying to do that on the fly in the middle of the season. And it's not something you've been preparing for up to when you started using it. You're always going to need your handful of go-to plays. You're always going to need that in your back pocket of, okay, we need a bucket. Here's a play. Here's what we're going to do. And that's okay, because that's, you're going to need specifics. You're going to need baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds. You're going to need down 3 with, you're down 4 with a minute left. Like, you're going to need the hitters that you feel like are like, all right, these are the best things that we do. But if you're going to run flow consistently, it's not in a playbook, because it's your players feeling and reading and reacting to what the defense is giving them and understanding the next step. And that is an offense that you have to plant seeds and you have to grow so that they can have the ability to read, okay, this team's playing pack line. Okay, this team's high hedging screens. This team's playing in drop coverage. Your team needs to adjust and have the understanding of what flow does against all of those different things in order to put the defense at the disadvantage. The more and more I watch, the more it becomes just abundantly clear they don't have a lot of guys good enough to put the defense at a disadvantage. And I don't think that changes if you're micromanaging. I don't think that changes if you're continuously trying to run flow. Maybe you can squeeze, a basket here, but how much more do you hurt because you're maybe trying to force a square peg into a round hole? That's been the buzzword of the day on the board. Like, you're trying to force a guy into something he's not good at, just because you feel like we need to run a set play. It's a fine line. There's no real right answers, but I think if you're a coach that believes we want to play that style, we want to play flow, like long term, our vision is to have players on the floor that understand how this works and what our basic principles are, what we want to accomplish, and they can see and run it themselves. If you're going to do that long term, you got to plant the seeds and you got to water them. And if they take a little bit to grow, that's okay. I saw it. I saw something today, a picture today that really caught my attention on this. Did you know bamboo trees grow underground for 4 years?
No. I thought they were like, I don't know. I thought they were like parasitic almost, like they just take over everything.
So they grow underground for 4 years. And when they sprout, they can grow 90 feet in 6 weeks.
That's insane.
So sometimes you can't see it. You can't see the growth because it's under the ground. It's under the surface. And it's growing. And it's getting stronger. And then when it sprouts, it sprouts.
We're scoring 90 points a game.
In 6 weeks.
So I'll tell you what, though. You did see him micromanage a little bit towards the end of the game.
Coaches are going to do that at the end of a game. Yeah.
Right. And they found, but still, even then, that beautiful play.
They got open shots.
Wide open, Jeremiah Davenport, top of the game.
All right. I think that was enough on that question. Well done, Chad. Looking towards next season, I've seen posts which assume that DDJ is coming back for a COVID year. Have we actually heard directly from him one way or another? If not, does BCJ have access to him to ask? P.S. I, for one, would love to see him come back. First off, I want to say how amazing it was to me when I used DDJ with Wes
Wes had
Miller,
never heard it.
and he had never heard that. That was wild to me.
That means no one on the team calls him DDJ.
But
Right.
that was all I wanted to say in regards.
It's wild to you that something fans created is not something the teams have any clue about.
I mean,
the Rake doesn't know we call him the Rake.
They all have their pulse. I mean, DDJ is used all over Twitter and stuff. I would think that they have their hand on the pulse of themselves on Twitter. But I mean, DDJ, to his credit, is a guy who reads books. He doesn't do a whole lot of Twitter.
I guess I need to just like put a sticky post at the top of the. I don't know what Dave is thinking. I don't know that Dave has sat down and like thought this out himself.
He's probably still thinking about the season.
Right. Like coaches and players don't think like us. They're trying to win. They're trying to get to the end of the season.
You play
and make the
to
NCAA
win the game
and make the NCAA tournament. And like it's not like he just sat down after the game on Sunday and was like, "Oh, got to make a decision." Don't need to make it for another month, but got to, don't need to make it for six weeks, right. But got to make it today. The fans are growing impatient. It's not, and I know people think I'm like being an ass when I talk like this, but I'm trying to explain, and part of it is we get asked this 6 times a week on the board, like daily, and he hasn't made that. Like we have let you guys know when we feel like we have a good feel on, like we have a good read on, if somebody makes a decision like that, or like John Newman has straight up said, I plan on coming back. Like, I plan on playing 2 years at Cincinnati. We have an understanding of that. What we don't have an understanding of is a guy like David, who's quiet and private. If I asked him, he's not going to tell. Like, no, hey, Dave, you coming back next year?
Well,
yeah, I'm in.
What would that say to his teammates if they knew? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking even just on the team, like I'm sure they don't have a clue.
Well,
I get why you guys want it. I get why you guys ask. I get why you guys want to know. It's just we're not there yet.
Well, you think back to last offseason, a lot of the players that were on the team were vocal about whether they were staying or going.
They opted out before the season was over.
Dave was the one guy who was like, he was pretty quiet that entire offseason. And you kind of had to just, then all of a sudden practices started and, he's there practicing. And so it's like, all right, well, yeah, looks like, or workout started and like, well, Dave's back. So that's a plus. So, but yeah, I mean, do I want David back? Yes. I think David back with some pieces on offense that, can break down defenses or at least kind of hunt their own shot and get good looks and set up other players like the 2 recruits we have coming in and hopeful additional options that we add to the rotation as well, then I think he's going to flourish. So, yes, I definitely want him back as well. And I can see him coming back.
The coaches would love him back. We just don't know we don't.
Right.
Nobody has any indication. Like,
but
I think they would hope that he's coming back. But nobody knows that answer.
He did mention to Justin Williams that he's having the most fun that he's had in college basketball this year. And which is
okay,
right.
and he could also be like that.
I'm done with college.
The most fun I've ever had. I'm done with college.
But I'm just saying it's a cool thing to kind of just know that that's kind of his mentality right now. It's not kind of that dark cloud that was over the entire team last season. So it's kind of just
I'm just saying I like that's not any indication as to whether
he
comes back or not, because to my knowledge, and I've asked because you guys keep asking me, so I keep asking, to my knowledge, he has not gone through that process with his family, with himself. Like it hasn't happened yet.
Right. All right. The next question, Chad answered the first half of this question. I don't even know if you want me to go into that. You answered it on the board. But the second half of this question is who would be your MVP this year?
The first part of the question is who are we going to run off? And we're not doing that. Like, I have to interview these kids. I have a job to do, and I can't properly do that job if I'm trashing this guy sucks and has to be kicked off the team. There's an understanding of that, right?
Well, I think it's safe to say we are running off Hayden Koval and Abdullah Do in a very good way. Thank you, guys. We love you.
Thank
But
you, end
you
of
have
eligibility.
exhausted all of your eligibility.
Thank you, end of eligibility. I can't do, I have a job to do that can't include me running around shitting on guys so you guys can feed the frenzy of who are we kicking off?
Right.
This roster needs an enema. Like, these guys all fucking suck. Like, I can't do that. It doesn't. No.
But who would
we're at on that?
Who would be your MVP this year?
David DeJulius,
without question. I don't think there's an argument really to be made for
right. Like,
anyone
once
else.
he hit his stride, that's
it's
the dude.
Dave. The only other argument would be Jeremiah, but it's Dave.
Teams aren't keying on Jeremiah though; they're keying on Dave because they know.
Well,
I'm picking Dave. I'm picking Dave.
Teams are keying on Jeremiah, and it's R4 is going to get the ball and come right at him regularly.
All right. How tall is Daniel Skillings? And do you see new versatility next year with Skillings and Reed in terms of playing multiple positions? Both committed mid-fall. Is that about the same time frame we can expect 23 commits?
We don't know what Wes's time schedule looks like. I know Mick and John both like to, if possible, get one or two guys in June. So there's a spring AAU and there's a summer AAU. And it's changing a little bit now because June is being opened up for like high school camps. And then July is AAU. But the way it looked before, AAU ran April and May, and then you would try to get, your top target or one of your top targets done in June. And then you go through July AAU and you would start scheduling official visits for football season. So for your home football games, so you can get a kid on campus, get them to see what the nip looks like, get them to get some love, and then that's when you got the two commitments this year in Skillings and Reed was coming off of, fall visits.
Skillings trip. Yeah.
Yeah. And because that the first signing day is in November. And generally, kids start working out for high school. They start gearing up towards their season in October. So August, September is a key time. June is a key time, but I don't know if that's still how that's going to work with the calendar changing some. And now that we're coming out of COVID and things are beginning to find a new normal, if you will.
All right.
I hate that term too. New normal. Oh,
the new
Skillings is 6'7". Reed is 6'7". They're both right in that range. They both have 7-foot wingspans. I think Dan is a shooting guard that can slide to the three probably if you need him to, but more best suited as a shooting guard. Josh, it'll be interesting to see what things he's a 3-4 combo forward. He does have the handle to play the three. He does have the kind of some of the shooting and bulk that you need to be that stretch 4 type and be able to play both ends. With Josh, I don't know yet. I'll need to see him when he gets here and see. What I don't worry about is, will he have the mental capacity to handle 2 positions? I don't think that's going to be a problem with Josh Reed. That is a smart kid.
And the coolest thing about, you look at that Temple team, and they're all really young, but man, they're each 6'7", long arms, and that You look at Cincinnati, and they just don't have that right now. So the fact that they're bringing that in is nothing but positive.
Brian just made a hell of a post on Bearcat
Okay.
Journal on the Temple game thread. UC's record, they're 7th in the conference right now, which is pretty much right in the middle. Record against teams ahead of them, 1-6. Houston, Memphis, SMU, Tulane, Temple. 1-6. The SMU win being the only win.
Right.
Record against the teams behind him, Wichita State, East Carolina, Tulsa, USF, 6-1.
Stat of the day. Stat of the
Right.
day.
That's what I've been trying to. They have a middle of the American Athletic Conference roster right now.
Yeah. I think this is
It doesn't get more middle of the road than that.
Well, I think this is Brian's question that he threw in the mailbag here about 20 minutes ago or so. Chad just mentioned that Skillings and Reed would basically be rotation guys. Would you rule out either being able to play his way up the rotation as the season progresses?
Yeah, I mean, if they're playing well, sure. But they're both freshmen, and we don't know. I'll have a better answer for that question once they get on campus and you can start seeing them in workouts and how they handle the physicality, how they handle not only the physical workload but the mental workload.
You also don't know what the transfer portal looks like and what this team necessarily is.
We don't know any. We don't have any clue yet what this team looks like. And so, these are good questions. We just aren't at a point to be able to answer them. It's you're in chapter 2 of the book and asking what happened in chapter 4. I don't know yet. I haven't got there.
But you can look at like Jacob Evans had that slow rise where at the end of his freshman year he was kind of in the starting lineup, getting starters minutes.
But this is a different coach.
Right. But but it's just a similar type of
Yeah, but we don't have all the data points, is what I'm saying.
Definitely.
You would expect if they come in and they play well,
right,
that you'll see their minutes increase and move up. But we've never seen Wes handle this.
Right.
So what if the team next year comes together and by February, the 7 or 8 guys are at the top of the rotation and guys 9 and 10 are Reed and Skillings.
Right.
Well, you're probably still getting them 7-8 minutes, but do you upset the apple cart with the guys ahead of them because they're playing well? Because you have to get them more minutes. It's an unknown. We don't know yet.
And you got to think also, this is the first time Wes has kind of had high-level recruits that have the ability to play right away, and
potentially, but these aren't. I think Dan is going to probably, as Wes talked about, Dan will, in most places end up around top 50, top 75, I think. But these are top 100 kids. These aren't top 30 kids.
Right.
So I think you have to keep that in. Now, maybe they outperform. Gary Clark and Jacob Evans were in a similar range. Yeah. But they outperformed what their ranking was. And
Keith
was
also in that same one too, and you saw him.
And was about right. He was about where, what you expect. He was a fringe level all-conference performer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hurry up and wait. The last portion of the mailbag comes to you from the Banks, and there's only one little question here.
Skins.
I think I got the right answer.
Shocker that it comes from Skins. Congrats on surviving the Sub-A-Thon, boys. First question is in honor of Aaron's pending fatherhood. Which sitcom dad do you think matches up to what Aaron will become? Follow-up
Al Bundy.
I was a shoe salesman in college.
Dude, it's right there on a T. Al Bundy.
Follow-up question. Brent, did you not give Aaron the birds and the bees talk? P.S. I'm going to buy a recorder to give to Aaron's unborn child in about 8 years. You're welcome, Aaron. This is a fate worse than death.
He's talking about
the plastic ones that, yeah. Hot Cross Buns, I think, is the only song anyone can play on it.
Well, yes, I tried to give him the birds and the bees talk, but it was about what? 10 years too late, something along those lines.
He sat me on his knee and he said, "Well, Aaron,"
he whispered,
Aaron, I heard you've been thinking about Doing it again.
Aaron.
Down here. Over here. Aaron.
Do you know about the birds and the bees?
Unreal.
Aaron,
The
Aaron, do you know what
Bearcats
happens?
and the Binturongs.
Do you know what happens
Unreal.
when a mommy and a daddy love each other?
What you really think it's Al Bundy?
Al Bundy, of course. Who else
Which,
would you be?
I don't know.
What is he on?
Who? Al Bundy?
Al Bundy? Yeah.
Married with Children?
You don't know who Al Bundy is? Alan Pegg?
He only knows him from Modern Family.
Well, now you're saying it. I remember the show now.
I never played high school sports. I was in the choir.
Of course you were.
Do you have a good
course
singing
you were.
voice?
Yeah, I actually do.
Oh man.
Me. Why have you never
haven't
showed it when you
sang for us
sang?
yet?
No, he has sang, and it's never been in a good singing voice.
When
I'm
has he
always
sang?
dicking around. Why would I mean, I'm not going to be like actually trying to. I do karaoke like no one's business, man.
Same here, but come on. We need a little bit on the BBP, baby.
We'll get there when it's appropriate. When there's times.
All
But
right, Skins. I hope you're listening to this. Make
also-
the next question something that makes Aaron sing. There we go.
I'm also not trying to get us kicked off for copyright
I
infringement.
think it's okay
please.
if you sing. It just can't be the actual song.
You
I
think
don't
you're
know.
gonna sound that original? Oh, come on.
No, I mean I'm just saying you can get in trouble for that kind of stuff and be not. I don't know. They can take your stuff down.
What's your voice like?
Ave Maria, go.
I messed around with Meatloaf when he died. Does no one remember that? When I,
Yeah, it was terrible.
Is that your
come on,
voice?
that was-
Is
that
that
was
your
great.
singing voice?
No,
Or
no,
are you
no.
like a kind of like a Harry
Anyway.
Connick Jr.?
I would do anything for love.
Are you kind of like a
Al
crooner?
Bundy didn't even go to college.
Yeah, I did actually.
Or are you like a like
I
everybody
finished.
loves
I
Raymond?
finished.
Well,
I finished with a 2.4, but I finished.
Like most sitcom dads are corny. Like they're cheesy. And, like you're not cheesy. I don't think.
No, I mean
So-
everyone's got jokes, but
Right. Like you're not, like the dad on Family Ties, or you're not Danny Tanner.
Okay. This is what you got to do. Aaron, type in Al Bundy to Google and just pull up what that first page looks like. The 1, 2, 3, the 4 pictures I'm looking at is you to a T.
oh my god, I don't. I don't know if I want to see. Al Bundy images.
Well, no, not even images. Just like kind of just the first Google page. I don't know if it's on the images too, but yeah, I mean, yeah, throw up the images. That I see you to a T.
Yep, that's Aaron right there. Look at it.
Especially like that, like this middle one where he's kind of laying down on the couch, and the one
Hand down
next
his
to it with
pants.
the TV
Yeah, that's
changer.
Aaron.
I think the one with the TV changer, Aaron's given me that face like 6 times tonight. So I think that's Al Bundy is 100% the answer.
Oh man,
No
Unreal.
doubt in
You're
my
gonna,
mind.
and you better hope your daughter doesn't look like Kelly.
Also, Aaron never scored 4 touchdowns in one game.
In the video games, he did, Brian. Come on.
Maybe Homer Simpson.
Oh come on!
No,
That'll wrap it up. That was another episode.
actually, I got a cartoon one.
Aaron's more like a Bart Simpson, I'd say.
I feel like I'm more this picture in the bottom right corner. All the
That
time.
the glasses and the suit.
No,
The one with the dumb look
Yeah.
on his face. Yeah.
I didn't do it. What
Or the
happened?
one right above it.
This one?
Yeah, the one right
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I like that one. I've got a cartoon one for you.
Okay.
Hank Hill.
Damn it, Bobby.
Damn it, Bobby! Like that's got some Aaron to it for
Oh.
sure, right?
Oh,
See it.
I sell propane and propane accessories. You've been in sales?
I don't know. Let me think on this one and get back to you next week.
I'm down to two: Hank Hill or Al Bundy. That's my two.
I feel like you have to be like 45 to be any of these guys. I'm not there yet.
You're 37 or what? You're not far.
I mean, I'm having my
44. Tread lightly, Aaron. I'm 44.
I'm having
You're
my
not Danny
first.
Tanner. You're not.
No.
You're not Ray Ramone.
No.
You're
I don't know.
Al Bundy or Hank Hill.
Man.
Al Bundy without the athletic ability, or Hank Hill.
Al Bundy wasn't athletic. That was the joke.
What, did he joke that he scored 4 touchdowns?
No, like he scored 4 touchdowns in high school, but he peaked in high school. Like that,
Wow. Uncle Rico.
That was the running joke. That
I peaked in college, but
at what? The shower?
And, we won't get into that. But
you work for the Dallas Cowboys?
Just saying, I peaked in college.
I think you're still peaking. I got your back here.
Thanks, Brent, the eternal optimist.
I think your best is yet to come.
All right,
really do.
We're reaching the
just
point
like the Wes Miller era. There we go. We tie it all back together.
Get us out of here.
Brent's got questions about the Sub-A-Thon apparently.
Not anymore. I thought we were gonna have some time to fill, but we just hit it. I guess just quick hitters. Favorite unexpected thing that you heard from a guest not named Wes Miller or Luke Fickell?
As always, the Jimmy Smith interview was
hilarious.
A riot.
Yeah.
I've had people come up and be like, dude, I was laughing so hard my face hurt when you guys had Jimmy Smith on.
Yeah.
So that one, we knew that would be great. Lenny Stokes calling from his car. He was at the Apple store all day. He dropped his phone. He had to get his phone. He told the people, I got to get my phone fixed in time to do this interview.
That's awesome.
Dan Horde, as we now I can talk about it. Dan Horde joined us right before he got on the road to go to his dad's funeral.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he put a long post on Facebook about his dad and the relationship with his dad. That's where Dan was going immediately. Like we had to schedule him if he was going to be able to come on, which he so kindly in that situation. He lost his dad the Friday before the Super Bowl. Like, I can't even imagine. I can't even fathom having, that hanging over you as you're about to have the pinnacle of your professional career.
Right.
And your dad passes. So
T's and P's.
That was amazing. The strength that he had to do that. I don't know, Aaron, anything jump out at you? The after hours
was fantastic.
Was amazing. I'm deciding if I should leave that in Bearcat Journal lore just for the 30 or 40 people that were dumb enough to stay up with us until 3 o'clock in the morning.
You almost have to go back and re-listen to make sure we didn't say anything stupid too.
Yeah, I might. Like Aaron and I at that point in time had been drinking for a while.
Okay, so tell me at what point I should watch.
Well, you can't watch those 3 hours. They got cut off by YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love Danco Joe. Like seeing that he was going to be on with Lenny Stokes, and he was like, "I'm in." Like, yeah, I'm in.
I'm not.
I got some questions for Lenny. I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
I was about to see a Danco Joe on there because I hopped in like because my phone died, so I was like I kicked myself off, and then I like got back on when I got back to my place and saw Danco Joe still on there with Jimmy Smith. I was like, damn, Danco Joe's been on this whole time. That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, he was just like, all right, I'm chilling.
That's
you guys invited me in, and I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna get some questions off. I got some things I want to know.
Sure.
So that was a surprise of the day that we didn't plan for. That was great.
Cashmere.
Cash was funny.
Yeah, Cash is really good. Cash is always really good. Like I said, Cash, when we first started doing the podcast, because Tim wasn't really a basketball guy. Cash did the basketball podcast with me, like for a season and a half. So he's comfortable in this medium. He was really good.
That was the first conversation I ever had with Jimmy from Holy Grail, and I think that
he's a great human.
Well, the fact that he's a booster, I think, gave a lot of people some perspective that they never had otherwise.
Maybe if we do it again, we lean into that a little bit more, having some people that
contribute
have that
to the university.
Like have a little bit more of that like perspective.
Yeah, I mean that was, from my understanding, Bob is part of that.
Yeah, of course.
In those last 3 hours, so he was definitely somebody who spoke to that as well during that last 3 hours. That was so cool about the last 3 hours that we had 3 different generations of Bearcats speaking.
Yeah, an older generation, my generation, and then a younger generation in Tonk that was on with us for a while.
Yep.
I don't know. I'll go back and listen to that and see. Like,
I don't think anything was out of sorts,
crazy.
Right?
But we've done some stuff like that where it just gets it was, secret, not secret, but it was built for those.
Was Simone truly Dave After Dark?
Yeah, he was pretty Dave After Dark.
Okay,
that's fair.
He was pounding beers, like he was.
There we go.
He wasn't the reserved Dave After Dark we've gotten a couple times.
Oh,
maybe unexpected was Justin spending his entire day shopping for a minivan.
That was great.
Got that extra kid coming. You need to upgrade.
Yeah, that was outstanding. But yeah, it was a great day.
So who won the big pot of champagne and
Bob and Phyllis.
Huh? Congrats to Bob and Phyllis.
Yeah.
Congrats to Bob and Phyllis. Well, anything else, guys? This is
I'm
the last
good.
tiny nugget where we can say, hey, blah blah blah. But no, there's nothing.
I'm good. It was a great day. We'll do other things similar down the road, but I don't know that we'll go that off the rails. Aaron, what's crazy was just us talking about this, and we've done this a little bit on the nightcap. 6 hours was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do another 6 hour one. No problem.
Like Friday. We could.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it Friday. I'm in no way, shape, or form volunteering to do it Friday, but I could do it Friday.
Yeah, like
I would
6 hours.
happily do 6 hours on Friday.
6 hours, I think, happened so fast that we had to ask ourselves, did we really just do when we got done with Wes and we were at the 6 hour mark and you could see the clock up in the top left-hand corner at 6 hours. It was like, what just because by 6 hours we had Dan, Mo, Shane from Galactic, Jimmy from the Holy Grail, Luke Fickle, Malik Van, Kashmir Wright, and Wes Miller.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like, holy cow, that was fast. And then the next 6 hours were also fast, but very different. a lot more free form the last 6 hours.
All downhill from there. In a good way.
The last 3 hours was bonus. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, this one's not going to touch 3 hours. This one's going to be ending right now. So I want to give a big special thanks to Brady Collins. Another big special thanks to Danco Transmission. And of course, as always, huge special thanks to Aaron Smith and Chad Brendel. Another fantastic BBP right here, presented by Danco Transmissions on BearcatJournal.com.
Sip!